Hello, I'm just Stanley with Standley Handcrafted, and today I'm going to be going over how to make tarts and melts with the Standley Handcrafted DIY tart and melt kit. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what's in this kit. If you don't have one of the kits, we do sell them on the website. The link is down in the video description down below. If you don't want one of the kits, you still can follow along with this video. The wax we're going to be using is IGI 4625. So if you have that wax and all the other supplies, you can still follow along with this video. If you do have the kit, I'm going to go over and show you everything in it just to make sure that you have everything, and then we're just going to start going from there. Okay, so in your kit you should have 3 separate bags of wax, approximately 1 pound each. For each of those bags you're going to have 7 tart or clamshell containers. You're going to have approximately 1 to 1.1 ounce of fragrance oil, and you've also got a bag that has a little bit of coloring in it just in case you want to color the melts. Along with that, you've got your melting pitcher, your thermometer, and a stirring utensil. So we're going to go ahead and grab this set right here, and we're going to go ahead and set this up. Alright, so before we get started melting the wax, I went ahead and grabbed a saucepan. I put probably an inch or 2 of water in there and then turned it up to right about 6 out of 10 on my stove, so just above medium. We want that water to get somewhat hot but not completely boil the wax in the pitcher that's in there. And you've noticed I've off-centered it from the flame just a little bit. That way when we hang the pitcher over the side, it's not going to heat up that handle so much that we can't grab it once it's done. Okay, so I went ahead and grabbed package A of the wax and the rest of the utensils. We're going to start out with the wax, the clamshells, the coloring, the fragrance oil, the thermometer, the stirring utensil, and the pitcher. So go ahead and grab wax A, and then we're going to go ahead and load that into the pitcher. And you're going to put every single one of the blocks inside the pitcher to melt the first set of clamshells. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and grab this and go ahead and place it inside the double boiler. And we're going to go ahead and move the handle around to the side over here, just so that it stays away from the flame. And we're going to go ahead and heat this up to fully melted, or 180 degrees, which should be right about the same. And once it starts melting, we're going to go ahead and test that with the thermometer. And while this is going, we're going to go ahead and get the clamshell set up. Okay, so while that wax is melting, go ahead and grab those clamshells and just lay them out. You want to make sure that the lids are open and they're facing up so that you can pour directly into them. Now 1 pound of wax should go into 7 of these clamshells pretty evenly. Alright, so let's go ahead and wait for that wax to melt. Okay, so that wax is fully melted, and we're going to go ahead and check the temperature now. Alright, grabbed a fork to hold that thing so you don't have your hand directly over. And we're going to go ahead, that is right at 180 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and pull that, or actually we're not going to pull that just yet. We're going to go ahead and add our coloring now. And I always add my coloring at the very end when it's fully melted, just so that the coloring doesn't overshadow or hide any of the wax that's still being melted. So we're going to go ahead and just dump that in there. A little goes a long ways with this stuff. And then we're going to go ahead and stir that up until that's melted. And the fragrance we're using right now is clean cotton, so these are going to be a nice cool blue. Alright, and that's fully melted, so we're going to go ahead and pull that off the stove and let it cool down a little bit before we add our fragrance oil. Okay, so go ahead and shut off the stove, and then we'll grab the wax and pull it over by the clamshells. And then we're going to keep checking the temperature on this. We pulled it off at 180. The cooling point, or this will start to harden up probably around like 155 to 150 since it's all paraffin. So we're going to go ahead and add our fragrance right around Anywhere between 170 and 160, you're going to be fine. We're going to let this cool down just a little bit. If you add the fragrance oil right now at 180, you can burn off quite a bit just by dumping it in there. So we'll catch it as it starts to cool down before we add our fragrance oil. Okay. So the thermometer is right about 170. We're going to go ahead and pull that out, and we're going to go ahead and add the fragrance now. And for this batch, you're going to add the entire thing of fragrance and stir as you pour. And then we're going to go ahead and stir for probably a good minute. I usually go back and forth. Not too heavy, but just enough so that the wax and the fragrance oil bind together and it mixes well. And we're going to go ahead and do that for about a minute, and then we'll pour into the individual clam shells. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pour into the individual clam shells. And for these, the coloring helps a little bit because you can see it go right in. We're going to go ahead and pour just very carefully into the clam shells until it gets to the top. And then I pour these almost to the top. That way when there's a little bit of wax left over, I can go back through and fill the ones that didn't go all the way up. And actually these are going to come out just about perfect on every single one. And then we're going to go ahead and let those cool. Okay, so while those are cooling, you can see that the wax is down there in the very bottom. Now paraffin hardens up really hard, so you can't really wipe it out with anything. So we're going to go ahead and put it back in the double boiler, and we're going to let that wax melt down onto the inside. And then once it gets fully melted on the inside, we'll use some paper towels and wipe that out. Okay, so this is pretty much melted inside there now. Now this is probably the best way to clean these pots, especially with paraffin, just because it hardens up quick. Hot soapy water is going to do a little bit, but it's not really going to get that wax out. So I like to get it completely melted back in there and then just wipe it out with paper towels. Now you definitely want to be careful because this is really hot. And then once you get it wiped out, you're going to want to run you'll take another paper towel and then just wipe that out with alcohol, and you can clean out any scent that's left over. There's really not much wax left over in that, and if you wanted to, you could place that right back into the double boiler for another minute or two just to get out and kind of burn off any excess scent that would be in there. But we'll go ahead and move these back over and then start on the next batch. All right, as those start to cool, I'm going to wait for them to get just a little bit cooler, and then we can go ahead and close the tops on those. And then once you close the tops, these will take about 24 hours to properly cure, and then after that you'll be able to melt them. Okay, so I went ahead and flipped the tops on those, and then once you're done, you can apply your labels. The labels that work perfect on these are the Avery label number 22822, and I'll go ahead and include a link in the video description down below. All right, and that's pretty much it. As soon as you get the container wiped out and clean, you can move on to the very next batch. If you do start another batch, just start the video over because it's the exact same process through the next one. And you'll end up with 21 individual melts at the very end of this. And again, I believe I covered everything. If I glossed over something, or if you see that I missed something, please let me know so that in the comments below so that I can fix it. And also you can get in touch with me through the comment section down below. I answer every single one of them. I have my email address, the website, Instagram, Facebook, everything down below in the video description. So please reach out. We do have the Facebook DIY candle making group that has we're almost at 2,000 members, and it's a very active, very helpful group. So if you see something in here that you want more explanation on, you can either get in touch with me here or through the group, and there's a lot more people that can kind of answer and help you out as well. So that's pretty much it. If you, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you don't have one of these kits, I do have the link down below. It's at standleyhandcrafted.com. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thank you.